Welcome to Formula Timeline, the channel where we chronologically document every Formula One race in history, starting from the very beginning. Today, we're heading stateside for the one race in 1950 that looked nothing like the others, the Indianapolis 500. Different cars, different rules, and not a single Alfa Romeo in sight. It's part of the championship, technically, so grab your milk and buckle in. This is the old ball round that shook up the standings without the regulars even showing up. May 30th, 1950 marked a seismic moment in motorsport history. The 34th Indianapolis 500 became the third round of the inaugural FIA Formula One World Championship. For the first time, America's premier oval raced for World Championship points despite being run under AAA regulations rather than strict F1 technical rules. While Europeans flocked to Monaco just days earlier, Indiana's 2.5-mile Brickyard beckoned with 200 laps of concrete and brick, a 500-mile endurance test where raw power, strategy, and nerves of steel reigned supreme. With a sun-baked crowd of 175,000 roaring from the grandstands, Indy in 1950 was set to crown an American winner who'd earned glory among F1's emerging legends. Despite the allure of a World Championship Indy win, European teams never made it to Indianapolis in 1950. Alfa Romeo had technically entered a Maserati-powered chassis for Nino Farina and Franco Roll, and two privateer Maseratis were shipped for entries, but none arrived. From Liverpool to New York, shipping was painfully slow in the post-war boom. Ocean freights took weeks, and customs clearance was a labyrinth. By the time the crates docked, race day had passed. Alfa Romeo's factory focus remained firmly on their European program. Their 1.5-litre supercharged Alfas were too valuable to risk in under-repaired spec on an oval. Likewise, Enzo Ferrari never attempted to cross the Atlantic in 1950, electing to concentrate on Monaco and the Brickyard. In short, no European F1 spec cars lined up at Indy in 1950. Instead, a grid of rugged AAA Championship roadsters, powered almost exclusively by Offenhauser engines, would vie for the first American World Championship victory, leaving European purists curious but ultimately absent. Welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The Brickyard, built in 1909, was originally built with 3.2 million bricks, lending it that famous moniker. By 1950, the track surface was mostly asphalt, but a stripe of original bricks still lined the start-finish straight. The 2.5-mile oval featured 4 identical turns, each banked at a modest 9 degrees, demanding high-speed precision rather than downforce-dependent grip. Behind the scenes, the oval had no runoff. Cement walls flanked every inch. Drivers relied on inertia and car control. Any mistake meant contact. Physically, 500 miles at speeds exceeding 120 miles per hour tested stamina. Cockpit temperatures soared past 40 degrees. Oil and coolant temps flirted with boilover, and tires, mostly Firestones, wore thin very, very quickly. In 1950, Indy's traditions ran deep. The honorary starter was auto magnate Seth Kleen, while Benson Ford, from the Ford family, piloted the Mercury pace car. A 5-lane front straight, pits on the infield side, and the iconic yard of bricks, a 3-foot-wide ribbon of original 1909 brickwork, remained one of the sport's most precious artifacts, offering a tactile link to racing's early era. At the Indy 500, qualifying isn't about one perfect lap. In 1950, it meant stringing together 4 of them, flat out, back to back. The time to do those 10 miles would lock in your place on a 33-car grid. No do-overs, no traffic excuses, just you, the car, and 4 high-stake laps of the Brickyard. And in his very first attempt, Walt Faulkner stunned everyone. The rookie rocketed to pole with a total time of 4 minutes 27.97 seconds, averaging a blisteringly 134.3 miles per hour. It was one of the great debut performances in Indy qualifying history. Lining up alongside him were 2 more heavy hitters. Fred Agashbian secured second with a 4 minute 31.1, and Maury Rose, a 2-time Indy winner, was just a fraction behind with a 4:32.7. All 3 front row starters were separated by little more than 4 seconds across 10 miles. Further back, a few more names made waves. George Connor clocked in at 4 minutes 32.39. Johnny Parsons, who would be one to watch come race day, boasted a 4 minute 32.43, and Jack McGrath edged in with 4 minutes 33 flat. Even the defending champion, Bill Holland, had work to do, managing a respectable but slightly up the pace 4 minutes 35.9. and Pat Flattery, another future winner, squeaked into the field with 4 minutes 37.76. Qualifying spanned 6 days, with nearly 100 drivers attempting to make the field. Weather delays, mechanical heartbreaks, and last-minute heroics all played their part. But by the end, the fastest 33 stood ready. This wasn't a gentle warm-up for the race. This was a battle before the war. Tuesday, May 30th, 1950 at 11 a.m. 175,000 fans jammed into the grandstands. The sky was clear for now, but would it stay that way? 33 cars rolled under the command of starter Seth Kleen, and Mercury's pace car, piloted by Benson Ford, led them around before releasing them at the green. Pole sitter Walt Faulkner rocketed into turn 1 ahead of Fred Agashbian and Maury Rose. But within 2 laps, Johnny Parsons, starting from P5, slid past both at turn 2, settling into P2 behind Faulkner. Lap 3. At the exit of turn 2, Parsons capitalized on a superior engine torque to slip past Faulkner, seizing the lead. Lap 5. Parsons had opened a 5-second gap, driving the only car not fitted with a dual ignition Offenhauser head, yet extracting maximum efficiency from his Curtis Craft chassis. Faulkner settled into P2, shadowing Parsons within 1 second. Lap 7. Bill Holland moves into P3, having quietly climbed from P10. Lap 60. Parsons, now lapping in the 123-mile-an-hour range, pitted for a splash of fuel and a new right front tyre, surrendering the lead to Bill Holland, who had been saving his tyres by running a cautious pace. Lap 65. Parsons roars back into P1, passing Holland in turn 4 with a textbook high-speed draft from the back straight. Laps 130 to 138. Rain begins to fall and drivers try to brave the rain. The marshals decide to throw a yellow flag, which signals drivers to hold position. Lap 138. After 345 miles, race officials red flagged the event. When the checkered flag flew, Johnny Parsons was the first American F1 winner. The early rain had cemented Parsons' tactics, and though the race was officially shortened to 138 laps, it counted for full points. The podium looked like this: Johnny Parsons, Bill Holland, and Maury Rose. Here's how the rest of the finishers looked. Notable finishes included the shared drive of Joey Cheatwood and Tony Betthausen, who finished P5, and Pat Flaherty rounded out the top 10. Because the Indy 500 awarded World Championship points, despite being run under different rules, the top 5 scored as follows. You had Johnny Parsons, who scored 8 points for the win and 1 point for the fastest lap. Bill Holland scored 6 points. Maury Rose scores 4. Cecil Green scores 3. And you had 2 points for 5th, which was shared between Joey Chitwood and Tony Betthausen, who got 1 point each. After 3 rounds, the Drivers' Championship standings looked like this. Remarkably, Parsons sat tied for first with Farina and Fangio, each at 9 points, despite never racing outside Indy. Bill Holland's runner-up earned 6 points, matching Fagioli and Ascari. This quirk of including Indy meant an American could mix it with the European legends, a novelty that thankfully only lasted until 1960. So that wraps up the 1950 Indy 500. The race delivered speed, spectacle, and a reminder that the American Oval was a very different beast to Europe's Grand Prix circuits. While it counted for championship points, it stood apart in every way: format, cars, and drivers. It may have been a one-off in the standings, but for those who raced it, Indy was everything. Next, we swapped the Oval's roar for Burnt Gardens' tree-lined terror. On June 4th, 1950, drivers tackled 7.28 kilometers of fast, bumpy sweepers under pine shadows. Alfa Romeo and Ferrari prepare for a high-speed duel. Can they conquer Brent Gardens' unforgiving twists? Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the swift Grand Prix drama.